It's been over 2 years since I left my 9 to 5 to start a business, and I spent over a year and a half in that time working remotely from Asia. If you're anything like me, you're probably seeing people online who are working remotely and thinking they're living the best life possible. So you're probably considering whether it's worth it for you. In this video, I'm going to show you a little bit about my story and weigh up the pros and cons so you can get a balanced perspective of whether it's worth it for you. And let's get started, get straight into it. This is a picture, by the way, of me in Vietnam at a dog park. So they just have loads of cute dogs there, which is nice. But we'll get started with the presentation. Let's go. So the first thing for me was quitting the 9 to 5. This is a picture of me on my one-way flight to Bali. This was at an industry event. So I left my job in January 2023, and in that time, before I was leaving, I was preparing to set up a marketing agency. So I do Google Ads for businesses, primarily in the UK. So I got everything underway. I set up the website a few months before leaving, got emails and everything set up to do cold outreach. And then in the first 6 months of 2023, I got some MRR coming in. No, sorry, this wasn't 2023. It was 2024. But besides the point, in January of 2024, made sure that revenue was coming through for the business and got a few clients in. And then it was May, I booked a one-way flight to Asia. I wanted to travel for ages. I wanted to work remotely and just see what it was all about, really. And prior to that, I was working in a marketing agency as well, so I had the skill set. I was very overworked in that agency, had some differences with the bosses there. So it was just the right time to take a gamble. I was scared, but I always believed I'd sort of learnt enough skills to make it work, and also kind of questioned like how hard can it be. I saw a lot of other people doing it, as I'm sure you have. So that was it, and I booked my flight out to Asia. So this is me on that flight. So now since I've been running my business, and obviously there's so many ways you can make money online, whether you're doing sales, doing remote work for a company, or you're setting up a business of any form. And I chose to go the agency route. So moving on, one of the pros for me, and probably pros for anyone, is that freedom to not have to listen to what your boss says. And part of success and ensuring with the kind of work I do to ensure that clients stay with me, I still need to give a good service. So I'm not just abandoning accounts. I'm still taking a lot of time and care into those. But you have a lot of freedom to choose when and where you work. You have the flexibility to travel when you want, and you can do a few hours, however many hours you need to per day, but you can be in a new location, and it's kind of freedom that, yes, more remote jobs are giving you that kind of freedom, but not every job's going to give you that, and most 9 to 5 still want you in the office a few days a week. So this kind of lifestyle is just impossible. And I do love the flexibility. I love that I don't have to answer exactly to someone. And we'll get onto in a minute how with me where I'm managing clients, yes, there's a bit of that, but it's also a little bit different. And I'll explain why in a moment. So these two are in Bali, so on the beach in Bali. And this one is in a gym, like a sauna area in Bali. The Wrong gym, if you're ever in Bali, is really good, so highly recommend that. And then this is a dude I met in Thailand at a Muay Thai fight. I think we were in the first round, and there was a first round knockout by head kick, so that was pretty cool. They're just sort of experiences that if you stay in the UK or stay in the US, wherever you're based, for an extended period of time, it's difficult to get. Maybe you'll go on a holiday once a year, but you can't really do it. And one of the things I haven't actually mentioned here is just the cost of living in Asia. I'm on a decent income from my agency, but it's nothing crazy. But I still have the flexibility to travel. My rent is £250 a month for a 2-bed place with a sea view, which I'm looking at over there. So one of the first things is freedom of the business, and it's going to depend as well. You need to pick the right business which is going to give you that freedom. If you're say working remotely for a company, maybe that freedom is going to be a little bit less because you have to work at certain times, especially if you're working UK or US hours and you're based in Asia. Then you're going to have to be working into the evening, which is something that you do have to deal with. So on to pro number 2. con number one. So one of the things is you can kind of be always on. So if you're the business owner, you get more benefits in terms of like the freedom and other things I'm going to mention, but you also, the responsibility is on you. Particularly me, I'm kind of a one-man business, always keeping an eye, always monitoring things. I would say it doesn't have to be this way. I'm actually looking to get someone on who is more skilled in the thing I do, which is Google Ads, than me, and they're going to help out with the campaigns and just allow me to have, if I want to take a week off. One thing I want to do is a longer meditation retreat, so that's something where I need to plan ahead and prepare for. So that's definitely a con, and something that maybe you wouldn't be aware of if you're looking to start your own business. Again, if you're working remotely, it's not going to be a concern this particular point. But even in that case, you're still going to have to manage time zones. You're going to make sure you're working at the right times, reporting to people. So that's definitely a con. It's not like you're completely switched off, and definitely people work probably less when they're working remotely, but it's not like people are doing 2 hours a day or like 30 minutes a day. There are certain businesses where you can do that, but it's always going to require a bit of groundwork. If you're interested in business, I would check out Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, which is an amazing read. It gave me all the mindsets you need, because you're not going to come and set up a business and it's just going to go sort of exactly how you want it to. There's going to be challenges along the road. So that, and I still think the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss is outdated, but it's still a good read. So the second pro, particularly with my business model, which is an agency model, and if you're a freelancer as well, clients will trust you more. So if your client is looking over your account and they're accepted into this, clients will question you, and you'll have worse clients who might be very skeptical of what you're doing. But most clients trust you. You're an expert. They've hired you for a reason. That's something that's worth bearing in mind. Worst case as well, if you're not kind of delivering for the client, they are going to leave you. And the same goes with your customers. If you're running an e-commerce store, or if you're doing anything else online, you need to provide good value, as is the case with any kind of relationship. But it is a different feeling compared to when, for example, when I was working in my last agency, I always felt my boss was kind of questioning me and looking for very, very small ways to improve and like micromanage, which could have just been him, to be fair. But generally, clients trust you more. They know your experience. They know you can do a good job. And being honest, I haven't got results for every client I've worked with. Some I've worked with since I started my agency, so for 2 years. Others maybe stay for 3 months. One even stayed 1 month, and yeah, I mean, that was a really bad client because they were just chopping and changing. They didn't even know what they wanted in that moment. So that's one of the things you're going to deal with. But I do enjoy that different feeling of relationship, and if the value isn't being provided, they just leave. They don't feel it's worth the value. They can just leave. So that goes on to my next point. Actually, it doesn't. It's unrelated, but here we go. So proactivity is a big thing if you're running a business. Is less so if you're working remotely for a company, but you do need to have a hustler mindset, as I like to call it. You need to keep innovating. For me, if I can see like maybe a client's not going so well, I need to take actions to improve performance. If I feel a client's not a fit, I then need to scope out other clients, do outreach, run ads. You can't really rest on your laurels too much. And to be fair, there's probably going to be a point where you do feel like you can take a step back and you can chill out. And I'm probably just about starting to feel that. I'm not there yet, but I'm kind of getting there. So that's the thing. You can't just chill out. You're not going to be lounging on the beach all day. There's still an element of proactivity. Again, caveat there, if you can do something with maybe drop shipping or e-commerce where you automate it, you create demand. But even then, I don't think there's really a truly passive income business. And even if it becomes passive over time, there's a hell of a lot of work that needs to go into it. So I'd be skeptical, always be skeptical as well if you're seeing this kind of content about people working remotely. Just be aware that people are selling you the dream. If they're sort of saying that they're giving away their best ideas, they're probably more likely to be selling you information rather than them being an expert in that area. because why would they give away something that's potentially making them loads of money? You're not, if that's the way you're generally making most of your income, you're not going to give it away. So be skeptical. I think everything's probably harder than people sort of portray it to be. But that's one of the things, if you have your own business particularly and you want to quit the 9 to 5, work remote, you need to keep innovating. You can't just sit down and hope for the best, hope for business to come to you. And I know a lot of people who've, say, gone into the agency model and they don't do enough outreach, or fear gets in the way, which is, of course, fear is always going to be there. It's always understandable. But ultimately, you can't keep it going if you don't keep putting the effort in. And just learning and just being a cockroach, just keeping going, not being turned down, and just persevering is like the biggest secret to success if you're starting any kind of business. Pro number 3 of starting a business, particularly like the business model I have, is you spread your risk. So if you're in a company, your boss dislikes you, or the company is failing and they need to let you go, you lose 100% of your income. Whereas with the setup I have, and this is a picture with me with one of the clients I've been with, property investing company, and we've been together for 2 years now, so got really good results for them. But say if I do have clients where I'm not getting as good results for, and it's just inevitable that they're going to cut you off if you're not unable to turn things around. But I know I've got another 3 or 4 clients, so I do spread my risk. There's definitely more uncertainty, because you don't know exactly how long you're going to be with people for. I would actually say it's more like perceived uncertainty. It feels more risky, it feels more uncertain, but in reality, all your eggs are in one basket if you're working the 9 to 5 for one company. So that's well worth being aware of. And this is a con. It could be a con, but it's also kind of a pro. When you're out with the 9 to 5, and depends on your business model again, but you potentially have more free time. And for me, I found that leaving the 9 to 5, I thought, right, this will be it. I will achieve sort of peace and I'll be happy forever. And when you go and do it, when you're maybe chilling on the beach a bit and you're out the 9 to 5 and you're thinking, why don't I feel fulfilled with just this? And I've spoken to my coach about this, that I will kind of say to myself, I'm living a lot of people's dream lives. A lot of people would love to travel the world, work remotely, just enjoy the good weather in Asia, but it's not enough, and it won't be enough. And it's something you probably need to try. If you haven't left the 9 to 5, you need to try it to just see it for yourself, because it's almost one of those things where maybe you need to go out and buy that nice car to see that the nice car wasn't what you're looking for. You need to go and make the money to see that the money wasn't what you're looking for. And it makes you question what is your purpose. And I've had as well really low times, where I've questioned what am I actually doing with my time, with my life. What is all the point of this? Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Workweek makes a good point that these questions don't provide too much value. And I've realised that my purpose, as well as, I wouldn't say my purpose is necessarily Google Ads, I might say that's a bit strong for me, but I can provide a good service with that, and I want to contribute by helping particularly young men who feel lost. That's part of the reason I put together these videos. I get contentment from just doing that. So it's a con. You're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to maybe see that quitting the 9 to 5 isn't everything, and you're still the same person. You're trapped in your same body and with your same mindsets that were maybe limiting you in the 9 to 5. You're going to learn a hell of a lot along the way, so it's well worth doing. If you've been thinking about it for a while, I have zero regrets. It's obviously kind of worked out because I've been out here for a while. The business has done pretty well overall. It's nothing. I'm not doing anything crazy with the business. It's just myself, but it's worked in terms of bringing a consistent income, flexibility. I met my girlfriend out here in Vietnam, who I'm bringing back to the UK for Christmas. So it's been a great experience. I'm super happy that I took that leap. I would 100% advise people, if you don't have responsibilities like I didn't, if you're young, just give it a go. Worst that happens, you get a good experience, you have some fun, good memories. You took the risk, and you can always go again. My strategy was really ensuring I saved up enough money, and that was kind of either way. If the business didn't work, if I lost clients, I always had those savings so I could travel around. You can keep your costs really, really low. I'm in Da Nang in Vietnam. You can easily keep going for say 500, no, not like a £1,000 a month, and probably less than that really. Um, but yeah, I would say I'm fairly liberal in terms of my spending, but you can definitely keep it lower and allow yourself more runway to sort of stay out here and try and make the business work. Worst case, go back to the UK, get a job, save up maybe 10k, and go at it again. But yeah, just take the chance. It's fully worth it, and I hope that's been a useful video, giving you a good perspective on leaving the 9 to 5, see if it's right for you. Thanks for watching.